Hello. In this video, we'll focus on finding reviews of commercially available tests. Think for a minute. What does it mean for a test to be commercially available? Have you learned about any tests or measures in classes so far? List a few you've worked with. Commercial tests are those which the publisher holds the right to the test and charges a fee for access to the test. A few examples are WISC, WACE, RAT, PAI, etc. Due to these fees, you will not find the full text of the tests nor scoring information available in the databases. What you will find, however, is information about and reviews of the tests. The Bureau Center for Testing is an independent, nonprofit organization which provides reviews of assessment measures. The Mental Measurements Yearbook is a series which the Bureau Center for Testing publishes annually. It contains reviews of psychological tests. Tests in Print is another series also published by the Bureau Center for Testing, which contains descriptions and scoring information about psychological tests. Rather than having to scan through the indexes of various years to see when a particular test was reviewed, we can now use the database to search. Where can we find a list of all the databases to which Adler subscribes? You can find some of the databases from your subject-specific guides. However, to find the full list, you can simply click Databases on the main library page. Click the M in the alphabet list. Next, click Mental Measurements Yearbook with Tests in Print link. What do you notice about the way this database looks? You might notice it looks very similar to PsycInfo. That's because Adler subscribes to both databases through the same provider, Ovid. However, what do you notice that indicates we're in Mental Measurements Yearbook rather than PsycInfo? You might notice the title of the database is listed here. Just like in PsycInfo, we can search by keyword or title. Often when you're looking for reviews about commercial tests, you'll already have a particular test in mind, in which case you'll use title. Let's look for information about the PAI. First, select title. I recommend you spell out the title. Now you'll see three options. If we're interested in the PAI-A, we can click the first link. Here we have some brief information about the test. You'll notice that for many tests, the manual will have more detailed information. The information in this database is meant to augment the manual, not replace it. Notice where it shows full text. This is not the full text of the test. Remember, these tests are all commercially available, so there are usually fees to access them. Instead, this is the full text of reviews of this test. Typically, a test will have at least 2 different reviews. Unfortunately, the graphics in this interface are not ideal, and so there's no obvious sign for where the second review begins. Take a look at these reviewers' references. How many references do you see? At first glance, it appears there are 3 references, but look more carefully and you'll notice that there are only 2 references. The third citation is actually the beginning of the second review. You might need to cite a review. If so, remember that these reviews are published in annual series. You can treat the reviews as you would chapters of an edited book. You might need to cite a review. If so, remember that these reviews are published in annual series. You can treat the reviews as you would chapters of an edited book. Here is the general format for citing a review in Mental Measurements Yearbook. Note what elements we need: names of reviewers, edition, and editors' names. Coming back to the database, we see this review's author is H. Dennis Cade. Scrolling up to the top of the page, we see these reviews were published in the 18th Annual Yearbook in 2010. To find the editors, use the Assessment Library Guide. Starting on the library homepage, search for Assessment. Click on the Assessment Library Guide link. Hover over Find Reviews of Tests or Measures. Click Find Reviews Mental Measurements Yearbook. Since we know the review we found was published in the 18th Annual Yearbook, using this library guide, we can determine the editors. As always, if you have questions about these videos or other library-related questions, feel free to email us at library@adler.edu or me directly at fbrady@adler.edu or set up an appointment with me. Now watch the next video, Psych Tests, Reviews of Non-Commercial Tests.